What happens when one of the most recognizable celebrities in the world walks onto a daytime talk show expecting a routine interview, but instead finds herself in a tense, unfiltered exchange that quickly escalates beyond control? Make sure to subscribe to Talk Show Fallout and like and comment for more talk show coverage. The audience is already clapping as Kim walks out, smiling, waving, that familiar polished confidence. She takes her seat at the table, adjusting slightly, greeting the hosts one by one. "Hi, thank you for having me," she says, her tone warm but measured. Sunny leans forward with a polite smile. "We're glad you're here." Whoopi nods. "Always a lot to talk about when you come through." A bit of light laughter around the table. Joy jumps in. "And you always bring headlines with you." Kim smiles again. That's kind of unavoidable at this point. The audience chuckles softly. The conversation starts easy. They talk about her latest business ventures, her legal advocacy work, and her role as a mother. "So you're balancing everything, business, law studies, family," Alyssa says. "How do you even manage that?" Kim shrugs slightly. "I just prioritize. I have a really good team, and I try to stay focused on what matters." Sunny nods, but there's a slight shift in her posture, like she's preparing to pivot. "And part of what matters to you now," Sunny says carefully, "is criminal justice reform, right?" Kim immediately leans in. "Yes, absolutely. That's something I'm really passionate about." "You've helped get people released," Whoopi adds. "That's real impact." "Yeah," Kim says, a bit more serious now. "It's been one of the most meaningful things I've ever done." The audience claps briefly. Sunny nods again, but her tone tightens just slightly. "And I think that's important work. I really do." There's a pause. But Sunny continues, "There are people who feel like your platform, how you got it, makes that advocacy complicated." The energy shifts just a little. The audience quiets. Kim tilts her head. "What do you mean?" Sunny keeps her voice calm, but firm. "There's criticism that your rise to fame wasn't based on traditional merit, and now you're stepping into serious spaces like law and justice reform." Joy glances sideways, sensing where this is going. Kim keeps her composure. "I've heard that before," she says. "But I think it's unfair to dismiss the work I've put in." Sunny responds quickly. "But do you understand why people question it?" Kim pauses for a moment. "I think people can question anything. That's fine. But I've spent years working on these cases, studying, meeting with lawyers, going to Washington." Sunny cuts in slightly. "Right, but you didn't go to law school." A small murmur from the audience. Kim's expression tightens just a little. "There are alternative paths to studying law. I've been very open about that." Sunny nods. "That's true, but those paths aren't accessible to everyone. That's part of the conversation." Whoopi raises a hand slightly. "Let's not talk over each other." But the tension is already building. Kim leans forward now. "I'm not saying my path is typical. I'm saying I'm using my platform to help people." Sunny replies, "And I respect that. But platform matters. Privilege matters." There's a sharper tone now. Kim takes a breath. "I've never denied that I have privilege." Sunny nods quickly. "But sometimes it feels like it's minimized." Kim shakes her head. "I don't think that's fair." Joy tries to lighten it. Okay, we're getting into it early today." A few laughs from the audience, but they're nervous laughs. Sunny continues, not backing off. "You've built an empire, and that's impressive. But when you step into spaces where people have worked their entire lives, it raises questions." Kim's voice is still calm, but more firm now. "I'm not taking anything away from anyone." Sunny responds, "No one's saying you are intentionally. But impact matters." There's a pause. You can feel the room holding its breath. Whoopi steps in again. "Let's slow this down. Kim, what do you say to people who feel like your influence gives you access others don't have?" Kim nods slightly. "Of course it does. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. But what matters is what I do with that access." Sunny leans back slightly, but her eyes stay locked. "And some people feel like it's not enough to just show up." Kim's eyebrows lift. "What does that mean?" Sunny answers directly. "It means understanding the systems you're stepping into, deeply." Kim responds quickly. "I do understand them." Sunny presses. "Do you?" "Fully." A small ripple goes through the audience. Kim's tone sharpens. "I've spent years learning, meeting with people directly impacted." Sunny interrupts. "Years is not the same as lived experience." That line lands hard. The audience reacts, some oohs, some shifting in seats. Kim pauses. Her expression changes now. Less polished, more real. "I'm not claiming to have lived that experience," she says. I'm trying to help. Sunny nods. But helping also means listening to criticism. Kim responds, I do listen. Sunny raises an eyebrow slightly. Do you accept it? There's a noticeable tension at the table now. Even Joy isn't jumping in. Kim takes a breath, slower this time. I accept constructive criticism. I don't accept people dismissing my work entirely. Sunny says, no one's dismissing it entirely. Kim looks directly at her. It feels like you are. There's a beat of silence. Whoopi leans forward. All right, let's. But Sunny speaks again, her tone still controlled but firmer. I'm asking real questions that people are asking. Kim replies, and I'm giving you real answers. The audience claps lightly, sensing the clash. Joy jumps in, trying to balance things. Okay, let's remember we're having a conversation here. Kim leans back slightly, crossing her legs, her body language more guarded now. Sunny doesn't look away. And just like that, what started as a standard interview has clearly shifted into something much more tense. Something unscripted, uncomfortable, and very real. The audience can feel it. The hosts can feel it. And Kim, she's no longer just smiling for the cameras. There's a moment where no one speaks, and you can feel how quickly the tone has changed. What started off as a standard daytime segment is now something a lot more tense, and everyone at the table knows it. Whoopi tries to reset things, her voice calm but firm. All right, let's just take a breath for a second. We're not here to attack anybody. Kim nods slightly, but her posture stays guarded. I don't feel attacked, she says. Though her tone suggests otherwise. I just feel like my intentions are being questioned. Sunny responds almost immediately. Intentions and impact are two different things. A small ripple goes through the audience again. Joy exhales softly. We're going deep today, huh? Alyssa gives a half smile, clearly unsure whether to jump in or stay out of it. Whoopi looks over at Sunny. Let her finish her point. Kim takes that opening. What I'm trying to say is, I didn't wake up one day and decide this would be a trend for me. I've spent years working on cases, helping people who have been overlooked by the system. Sunny nods, but there's still a firmness in her expression. And again, that's commendable. But when you speak on these issues, you're speaking from a position that most people will never have access to. Kim's voice tightens slightly. I understand that. Sunny leans forward again. Do you? Because sometimes it feels like when people bring that up, it gets brushed off as negativity instead of something worth sitting with. Kim shakes her head. That's not true. Sunny presses. Then why does it come across that way? Kim pauses. You can see her choosing her words carefully now. Because I think there's a difference between constructive criticism and people trying to invalidate everything I do. Joy nods a little. That's fair. Sunny responds. But who decides what's constructive? That question hangs there for a second. Kim answers. I think when someone is actually trying to engage in a conversation versus just tearing someone down, that's the difference. Sunny doesn't back off. And what if people feel like they're not being heard when they do engage? Kim looks directly at her now. I'm hearing you right now. The audience reacts with a soft mix of murmurs and claps. Whoopi raises her hand again. Okay, let's not turn this into a courtroom. There's a brief chuckle from the audience, but it fades quickly. Alyssa finally jumps in. I think there's something interesting here, though. You've built this massive platform, and now you're using it for advocacy. That's not something we see a lot. Kim nods, grateful for the shift. Exactly. And I'm trying to use it responsibly. Sunny turns slightly toward Alyssa. But responsibility also means acknowledging how that platform was built. Kim exhales, this time more visibly frustrated. I have acknowledged that. Many times. Sunny says. Then why does it feel like it's always followed by a but? Kim's eyebrows lift. Because there is a but. Because my past doesn't cancel out the work I'm doing now. The audience reacts louder this time. Some claps, some audible sounds. Joy leans in. That's a strong point. Sunny keeps her focus. No one's saying it cancels it out. But it does shape how people view it. Kim responds quickly. And people are allowed to have their opinions. I'm not trying to control that. Sunny says, but you do push back on it. Kim nods. Because sometimes it's unfair. Sunny raises her voice just slightly, not shouting, but more forceful now. Or sometimes it's uncomfortable. That line shifts the energy again. Kim pauses. Her expression hardens just a bit. Of course it's uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. There's a louder reaction from the audience now, some applause. Whoopi leans back, watching closely. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Sunny tilts her head. Then why not sit in that discomfort instead of pushing back against it? Kim responds, more firmly now. I am sitting in it, but I'm also not going to sit here and let people discredit everything I've done. Sunny replies, no one is discrediting everything. Kim looks around the table. That's how it feels when the focus is always on how I got here instead of what I'm doing now. There's a pause. Even Joy doesn't interrupt this time. Sunny softens her tone slightly, but not her stance. Because how you got there matters. It always matters. Kim shakes her head. It matters, but it shouldn't define everything. Sunny says, it doesn't define everything, but it informs everything. That line lands heavily. The audience goes quiet again. Alyssa shifts in her seat. I think both of you are kind of saying something important here. Joy nods. Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of conversation people are having at home. Whoopi looks at Kim. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like you have to prove yourself more because of how you became famous? Kim answers without hesitation. Yes, absolutely. There's a small wave of applause. And I've accepted that, she continues. But there's a point where it feels like no matter what I do, it's never enough for some people. Sunny responds, because the expectations are higher when you step into serious spaces. Kim leans forward again. And I'm meeting those expectations. Sunny raises an eyebrow. According to who? That question hits harder than the others. Kim pauses again, this time longer. According to the people I've helped. According to the families I've worked with. Sunny nods slowly. That's valid. But public perception is a different thing. Kim replies, public perception is always going to be divided. Joy chimes in. That's definitely true. Sunny looks directly at Kim again. But you care about that perception. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here explaining it. Kim doesn't deny it. Of course I care. I'm human. There's a brief, softer moment there. But it doesn't last long. Sunny leans in again, her tone sharpening just a bit. Then you have to be open to the fact that not everyone is going to see your work the way you do. Kim nods. I am open to that. Sunny says, are you open to the idea that some of the criticism is justified? Kim's jaw tightens slightly. Some of it, yes. Not all of it. Sunny presses again. And how do you decide which is which? Kim exhales, clearly frustrated now. By actually listening to what's being said, not just the tone it's said in. Sunny responds quickly. Tone matters too. Kim shakes her head. Not as much as intent. Sunny says they both matter. Now they're talking over each other slightly. Whoopi raises her voice. Hey, one at a time. The audience reacts with a mix of laughter and tension. Kim leans back again, but this time she crosses her arms. A clear shift. Sunny notices it. You're getting defensive, Sunny says. Kim responds immediately. I'm responding. Sunny says, there's a difference. Kim replies, not when someone keeps questioning your credibility. That line lands sharply. The audience reacts again, louder this time. Joy looks between them. Okay, this is getting heated. Whoopi leans forward, more serious now. Let's not lose the conversation here. But the energy at the table has clearly changed again. Kim isn't just defending her work anymore. She's pushing back. And Sunny isn't easing up. The tension is no longer subtle. It's right there, out in the open, and everyone in the room can feel that this is heading somewhere bigger than a simple disagreement. The air at the table feels heavier now. Nobody's pretending this is just a casual back and forth anymore. The audience has gone from relaxed to fully locked in, watching every word, every reaction. Whoopi leans forward again, her tone more direct this time. All right, we're not going to talk over each other, but we are going to let this conversation happen. Just keep it respectful. Kim nods once, but she doesn't uncross her arms. Her expression is tighter now, less composed than when she first walked out. Sunny sits upright, calm on the surface, but clearly not backing down. Kim speaks first this time. I think what's frustrating is that no matter what I say, it feels like you've already decided how you see me. A low reaction from the audience, some agreement, some hesitation. Sunny responds evenly. That's not true. I'm responding to what you're saying in real time. Kim shakes her head slightly. But it doesn't feel like a conversation. It feels like I'm being cross-examined. Joy lets out a quiet oof, reacting to the phrasing. Sunny raises an eyebrow. I'm asking questions. That's what we do here. Kim replies quickly. There's a tone to it. Sunny doesn't flinch. There's a tone to your responses too. That line gets a louder reaction, some claps, some surprised murmurs. Whoopi steps in. Okay, Let's not make this personal. Kim turns slightly toward Whoopi. It already is. That lands. You can feel the shift again. Alyssa tries to soften things. I think maybe there's just a disconnect in how this is being received versus how it's being intended. Kim looks at her, nodding slightly. Exactly. Sunny responds. Or maybe there's a disconnect in how it's being delivered. Kim exhales, shaking her head now. So now it's how I'm speaking? Sunny replies. Communication goes both ways. Kim leans forward again, her voice firmer. I came here to talk about work I'm proud of, not to defend my entire existence. The audience reacts loudly to that, applause mixed with a few surprised sounds. Joy jumps in. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But Sunny isn't letting it go. But your existence is part of your platform. Kim looks directly at her, eyes narrowing slightly. That doesn't mean it has to be the focus every time. Sunny responds. When you step into serious conversations, it's going to come up. Kim's voice rises just a bit, not shouting, but clearly sharper. And I've addressed it. Over and over again. Sunny says, and people still have questions. Kim gestures slightly with her hand. People will always have questions. That doesn't mean I have to keep answering the same ones forever. That line hits. The audience reacts again, some applause, some tension. Whoopi leans in. All right, let's bring it down a notch. But the momentum is already there. Sunny leans forward again, her voice more pointed now. Or maybe it means the answers aren't landing the way you think they are. Kim's expression shifts. This one clearly gets under her skin. What does that even mean? She asks. Sunny responds. It means sometimes when people don't feel heard, they keep asking. Kim lets out a short, frustrated laugh. So I'm not listening now? Sunny says. I'm saying it might come across that way. Kim shakes her head again, more forcefully this time. That's not fair. Sunny replies. It's not about fair, it's about perception. Kim leans back again, looking away for a second, clearly trying to keep her composure. There's a long pause. The audience is completely silent now. When Kim looks back, her tone is different, quieter but more intense. You keep talking about perception, but you're not acknowledging the actual work. Sunny immediately responds. I have acknowledged it multiple times. Kim cuts in, briefly. And then it goes right back to questioning me. Sunny says, because that's part of the conversation. Kim's voice tightens again. It doesn't feel like a conversation. It feels like a judgment. A few audience members clap softly. Joy leans in. I think what she's saying is she feels like she's on trial a little bit. Sunny turns to Joy. No one is putting her on trial. Kim responds. That's exactly what it feels like. Sunny looks back at Kim. That's your perception. Kim lets out another short laugh, this one more tense. Right. So my perception doesn't matter, but everyone else's does. That line gets a strong reaction from the audience. Whoopi raises her hand again. Hey, we're not doing that. But now both of them are fully engaged. Sunny says, that's not what I said. Kim leans forward again, her voice more forceful now. It's how it comes across. Sunny replies, and I could say the same thing about your responses. They start to overlap slightly again. Kim, because I'm defending myself, Sunny. And I'm asking questions, Whoopi cuts in loudly. Stop. Both of you. The room freezes for a second. Whoopi looks between them. We are not going to turn this into a shouting match. There's a brief, uneasy laugh from the audience. Kim adjusts in her seat, smoothing her hair back slightly, clearly trying to reset. Sunny sits back, but her expression hasn't softened. Whoopi continues, calmer now. This is a conversation people are having everywhere. Let's not lose that. Alyssa nods. I think there's a bigger point here about public figures stepping into advocacy roles. Kim interrupts, her patience clearly thinner now. And I'm okay having that conversation. But not like this. That line shifts things again. Sunny tilts her head. What do you mean not like this? Kim looks directly at her. Not where it feels like everything I say is being picked apart. Sunny responds. That's part of being on a show like this. Kim shakes her head. There's a difference between discussion and interrogation. The audience reacts loudly to that. Some claps, some wow murmurs. Joy leans back. Okay, that's yeah. Sunny doesn't smile. I disagree. Kim exhales sharply. Of course you do. That line gets a strong reaction. Some laughter, some tension. Whoopi leans forward again, more serious now. All right, we're getting to a place where this is not productive. But the energy hasn't dropped. If anything, it's more fragile now. Kim glances. off to the side of the set for just a second, quick, but noticeable. Sunny catches it. You okay? Sunny asks, but her tone still carries that edge. Kim looks back, nodding quickly. I'm fine, but she doesn't look fine anymore. The polished calm from the beginning is gone. Now it's something else, frustration, defensiveness, maybe even a little bit of disbelief at how this has unfolded. The audience can feel it too. This isn't just a tense segment anymore. It's right on the edge of something bigger, something that could either settle down or completely spill over. There's a long pause that hangs in the air, the kind that doesn't happen often on live TV. No one is quite sure who's going to speak next, or how this is going to land. Kim shifts in her seat again, this time more noticeably. She uncrosses her arms, then crosses them again, like she's trying to decide whether to stay in the conversation or step out of it. Whoopi senses it immediately. All right, let's just reset for a second. But before she can fully steer it back, Kim speaks. I don't think this is productive anymore, she says, her voice controlled but clearly strained. The audience reacts, soft murmurs, a few surprised sounds. Sunny looks at her, still composed. It's a conversation. It's not always going to be comfortable. Kim nods slightly, but there's frustration behind it now. I understand that, but there's a difference between being uncomfortable and being constantly challenged in a way that feels one-sided. Sunny responds, It's not one-sided. I've acknowledged your work multiple times. Kim shakes her head. But that's not what people are hearing. Sunny raises an eyebrow. Or maybe it is, and they still have questions. That line lands again, but this time it doesn't spark the same back and forth. Instead, Kim exhales, looks down briefly, then back up. I think I'm done, she says. The room freezes. There's an audible reaction from the audience, gasps, a few oh wow whispers. Joy leans forward immediately. Wait, what do you mean? Kim pushes her chair back slightly. I mean, I came here to have a conversation about things that matter to me. And I feel like that's not what this turned into. Sunny responds, a bit more quickly now. We are talking about things that matter. Kim looks at her, more direct than before. We're talking about how you see me, not about the work. That line hits hard. Whoopi raises her hand. Hey, nobody's asking you to leave. Kim gives a small, tight smile. I know. I'm choosing to. The audience reacts again, some clapping, some clearly shocked. Alyssa looks genuinely uncomfortable. I think maybe this just got more heated than anyone expected. Joy nods. Yeah, this escalated fast. Sunny sits back slightly now, her expression shifting just a bit, not backing down but aware of the moment. No one intended for you to feel that way. Kim stands up fully now, smoothing her outfit, keeping her composure intact but clearly done. I'm sure that's true, she says. But that's how it felt. There's a quiet in the studio that feels heavier than before. Whoopi stands halfway out of her seat, trying to keep control of the situation. We appreciate you coming. Kim nods politely, but doesn't sit back down. Thank you for having me. She gives a quick glance toward the audience, a brief wave, and then turns toward the side of the set. The audience is split. Some people clap, others just sit there, stunned, watching it unfold in real time. Sunny watches her go, her expression thoughtful but still firm. Joy leans back in her chair, shaking her head slightly. Well, that just happened. Alyssa exhales. That was intense. Whoopi sits back down slowly, looking out at the audience. This is live television, folks. There's a mix of nervous laughter and lingering tension. The camera stays on the table as Kim exits off stage. For a moment, no one says anything. Then Whoopi breaks the silence. All right, we're going to take a quick break. The audience claps, but it's not the usual upbeat applause. It's uneven, uncertain. As the show cuts to commercial, the tension doesn't disappear. It just shifts backstage. Off camera, producers are already moving quickly. You can see staff near the edges of the set, some looking toward the exit where Kim walked off, others talking quietly into headsets. Back at the table, the hosts are still processing. Joy leans toward Whoopi. That went further than I thought it would. Whoopi nods slightly. Yeah. Sunny sits quietly for a moment, then says, I wasn't trying to push her out. Alyssa responds gently. I don't think anyone thinks you were. But the weight of what just happened is still there. When the show returns from break, the tone is noticeably different. Whoopi addresses it directly. So, as you all saw, that was a difficult conversation. And sometimes that happens when people care deeply about what they're talking about. The audience listens closely now. Joy adds, these conversations aren't always easy, but they are important. Sunny nods. And I do want to say I respect the work she's doing. That's never been in question for me. There's a small round of applause. Alyssa follows. I think what we just saw is what a lot of people are feeling when it comes to conversations about influence, privilege, and responsibility. Whoopi wraps it up. And we're going to keep having those conversations. Hopefully with a little less walking off. A few laughs break the tension. But the moment has already taken on a life of its own. Within minutes, clips of the exchange are circulating online. On Twitter, hashtags start trending. Debates about who was right, who crossed a line, and whether the walk-off was justified. On Instagram, short clips of the exact moment Kim stands up begin racking up views, with captions like, "Did this just happen live?" And "That got uncomfortable fast." Meanwhile, discussions on YouTube start popping up almost instantly. Panel breakdowns, reaction videos, and commentary channels dissecting every second of the exchange. Some viewers praise Kim for walking away, saying she set a boundary. Others side with Sunny, arguing that tough questions are part of being in the public eye. And of course, plenty of people are divided, saying both had valid points, but the conversation spiraled too quickly. By the end of the day, it's one of the most talked about moments from the show in recent memory. Backstage reports suggest that Kim left the studio shortly after, declining any follow-up interviews. There are also whispers that producers reached out to her team afterward, though. Nothing is officially confirmed. As for the hosts, they move forward with the show. But the energy is still different. Because moments like that don't just disappear once the cameras stop rolling. They linger. They get replayed. And they become part of a much bigger conversation. And now it's your turn to weigh in. Was that a fair discussion, or did it cross the line? Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to Talk Show Fallout for more real talk show stories.